Cusco is the capital city of the Incan Empire, and with its iconic Incan architecture blended with Spanish charm, there's so much to see in this city. Today we're walking through the top 10 things you need to do when visiting Cusco, Peru. And the first spot you need to check out is the San Pedro Market. The San Pedro Market is a lively part of Cusco, frequented by both locals and travelers. And believe it or not, the oldest part of this market was actually designed by the famous architect Gustav Eiffel, aka the designer of the Eiffel Tower. Anyways, inside you'll find vendors selling food, alcohol, and all sorts of household essentials. You'll also find tons of amazing restaurants inside selling fresh and authentic Peruvian foods. Another thing that's great about the San Pedro Market is it's right next to the Peru rail train station. So if you're planning on visiting Machu Picchu, this is a great spot to load up on snacks before that 4-hour train ride. We opted to stay at the Hostel, which is right near this market and right near the train station. And it was a cheap and enjoyable place to stay. We'll link it down below if you're interested.
The next spot on our list is San Francisco Plaza. San Francisco Plaza is a beautiful square in the historic downtown area. You can reach this plaza by walking through the Arco Santa Clara, which is a beautiful arc that connects the San Pedro Market area to this square.
We're in the Plaza San Francisco. It's really tranquil here. There's lots of people sitting on the benches enjoying the park. The architecture here is phenomenal. Behind me we have this beautiful church with beautiful bell towers. If you're looking for a small little escape in Cusco, this is definitely it.
And while you're near the San Francisco Plaza, the next spot you'll need to check out is Plaza de Armas. This is the main public square in Cusco, with history dating back to the 1500s. Plaza de Armas is filled with lavish fountains, statues, and grand architecture. On a sunny day, it's absolutely majestic. This is a really lively part of the downtown with beautiful churches and shops to explore. So we're in the Plaza de Armas now. This is gorgeous. It was the chosen starting point for the imperial city, which later became the capital of the Inca Empire.
Yeah, and now it's just this beautiful square, lots of people selling artwork. Everyone here's been totally respectful. You're not being heckled or pulled in to buy things. You're flanked on all sides by beautiful churches, gorgeous architecture, really cool spot in Cusco. The next Cusco icon you need to see is Cristo Blanco. This giant statue can be seen from all over the city. And if you don't feel like taking a tour bus to the top, the walk to the statue takes about 30 minutes if you start in the city center of Plaza de Armas.
And while Google Maps says it's 30 minutes, be sure to allot a little bit more time for this because the hike up is exhausting.
We just made it up those steps and we have these to go. Oh. We're getting our cardio in today. So what's kind of cool is with every step we take, we're at the highest elevation we've ever been in our lives. Cusco has an elevation of about 11,000 feet, and we've only been to Denver before, which we just looked it up. It's only about 5,000 feet. So this is more than double the altitude of Denver, and we're really feeling it.
So there's only two things that are making up for these really tough stairs. One, the views, and two, all the little pups that are following us along the way. But definitely don't underestimate these stairs. When you reach the top, you'll be greeted with one of the best views of the city.
So we're at Cristo Blanco right now, the statue of Christ, which sits on top of Cusco, and you get an amazing view of the entire city from up here. The Plaza de Armas here. The altitude is no joke. It was really exhausting us getting up here.
While you're near Cristo Blanco, it's the perfect time to check out the next top attraction in Cusco, and that's the Chico ruins. While many of the Inca sites around Cusco require a paid tourist ticket, these ruins are free and you can explore at your own pace. And since you're probably going to be spending a lot of money on your Machu Picchu trip, we appreciated being able to save our pennies a little bit here. And another bonus is being off the tourist circuit, you can expect to have much smaller crowds while exploring these Incan ruins.
Oh, careful. This architecture is astounding. You can just see how every stone meshes so perfectly. No use of mortar.
Yeah, it's kind of sad in the 21st century. I don't think I could figure this out. It's amazing that this was done hundreds of years ago.
Seriously, guys, you have to come here. I feel like I'm straight out of Indiana Jones having all these ruins to explore by ourselves. This is what Peru's all about.
So if you venture downward a little further from the Chico section of the ruins, you can see there's some more ruins here, but we're guessing these ruins are Spanish because, as you can see, they don't have that Inca flair where they all line up together. We went to the Chico portion of the ruins, which was free, and then the normal Kenko ruins seemed like there was an admission cost, but we could see plenty just from walking around it. And it was really cool.
Near the Chico ruins is the next top spot in Cusco that you'll need to check out, and that is Saqsaywaman. These are probably the most famous Incan ruins around Cusco, and is a large fortress full of Incan stonework. To actually enter these ruins, you'll need to purchase a Cusco tourist ticket, which costs between 70 and 130 soles, depending on what attractions you wish to see.
So even if you don't go into the Saqsaywaman Ruins, it's actually really cool to see from the outside. The little entry here walks you all along the outside of the ruin, and it grants you some pretty good views of the inside. So I think you get a good perspective, even if you don't want to dish out the money to go inside. The other thing that's so cool about these particular ruins is just the size of the boulder. I have no idea, without having beasts of burden, oxes, horses, that the Incas were able to move these heavy stones. I don't think they even had invented the wheel at that point. So you just think of the act of manpower to build something like this, and really puts into perspective how cool these ruins really are. So one more thing that's really cool about the walk to and from these ruins is the water that runs along in the stream. It looks like all the stones over there are Incan placed. So if this is their irrigation, that's so cool to see it still working today. And I'm really excited about this next thing you need to try while in Cusco, and that's an Inca Cola.
An Inca Cola is a special Peruvian soda, which we were excited to try because we actually saw a lot of locals drinking this. We actually enjoyed this drink a lot more than we thought we would. So much so that Michael was still drinking it whenever we were leaving Peru in the Lima airport.
I actually really like it. So we picked up this Inca Cola at the shops, and we've seen actually a lot of locals drinking it, but I've never seen it anywhere outside of Peru. And with the name Inca, I feel like there's no better spot to drink it than these Saqsaywaman Ruins. So no idea what it'll taste like. Mystery flavor.
Watch out for the carbonation. You're throwing that around a lot.
Go. Oh no. All right, first sip of Inca Cola at the Inca Ruins right here. It's bubblegum.
Is it actually?
It's 100% bubblegum. That's so funny, you would think it'd be pink if it was bubblegum.
Wow.
It's funny because it's almost slightly refreshing, and I would never have thought bubblegum could be refreshing. It might just be because we just walked miles and miles straight uphill that anything would taste refreshing, but Inca Cola, pretty good.
Really sweet.
If you ever find yourself in Cusco, definitely check it out. Cheers.
Two very important things to pack when you're exploring Incan ruins: water and Inca Cola.
The next spot in Cusco you need to check out is the Sapantiana Colonial Aqueduct. This is a still standing aqueduct built in the iconic Spanish style around the 1600s. What's so interesting about this is while the aqueduct is of Spanish construction, it's actually built on the old Incan canal that brought water to the city. So it's a great spot to check out if you want to see the mixing of these two cultures. Behind us we have one of the aqueducts in the city, and you can tell the architecture is really, really neat. Getting here is a little tricky. The road you have to walk on is very narrow. We saw a couple people walking actually in the channel itself where the water flows. The water's low, you can probably get away with this, but given how slippery some of these rocks can get, you're probably better off sticking to the path, but definitely do so at your own risk because this is a narrow path and the fall is kind of steep.
Next on our list is the San Cristobal Overlook. This is a great spot to sit and take in the whole city. It's a plaza that's situated next to a church and is pretty lively. We found it the perfect spot to sit and look over Plaza de Armas after a long day of walking.
Now we're at the viewpoint at the Mirador de Plaza San Cristobal.
I really like that you can view right into Plaza de Armas because it gives you a really neat perspective. You're not too far from it, so you can still see a lot of the details, but you're far enough away to take it in from a full bird's eye view. Pretty nice spot.
And another spot you need to check out if you want to appreciate the great Incan architecture of Cusco is the 12-pointed stone. There are a lot of great examples of Incan architecture all over the city of Cusco, but this might be the most impressive of them all. It's essentially a stone that's cut in 12 different ways to nestle in perfectly with the surrounding stones. We did find this spot to be relatively busy, so try and make it there early to beat the crowds.
We're in the alleyway where the 12-angled stone is, and the 12-angled stone is kind of like the crux of Incan engineering because it's nestled like a puzzle piece. You can see it actually supports 12 different stones with different notches inside of it. This is really cool when you see it. This was made with no mortar. It all has to match together perfectly, otherwise it couldn't support itself. And the last thing you need to do when visiting Cusco is to try some of the amazing Peruvian cuisine this area is known for. We'll have a video coming out shortly with our favorite foods we ate in Cusco, so be sure to check that out as well. And no, we did not try any deep fried guinea pig.
So those are the top 10 things you need to try when visiting Cusco. That's all we have for you today. Thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with all of our Peruvian adventures. Next up, we're headed to Machu Picchu, Aguas Calientes, and Lima, Peru. So be on the lookout for those videos as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Adios.